Download the BCSN Plus app today.
Last weekend, St. Francis grad Todd Mitchell was among those honored by the African American Legacy Project Sports Legends of Northwest Ohio. An all Big Ten basketball player at Purdue, Mark Coons chatted with the former NBA player on his basketball journey.
Without a doubt, the 1980s were one of the golden ages of Toledo high school basketball. A state championship for St. Francis in 1983. Maycumber Whitney won a state championship, and Scott as well. And we are joined by one of the individuals responsible for that St. Francis state championship, Todd Mitchell. Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, I appreciate the time and appreciate to be here.
What does it mean to you to be named a sports legend of Northwest Ohio?
Well, obviously it's a great honor, for one, to sit alongside of a lot of people that are on that list and already there, and to be recognized as something that you did over your scholastic career. It's a real honor for me, and obviously something I don't take lightly, but I'm really excited about it.
Obviously, hindsight is 20/20. You're a basketball individual. We've known that for decades now. But you were walking the halls at St. Francis not necessarily thinking you were going to play basketball.
Well, that's absolutely true. I grew up in a football household. My father was a football player, semi-pro football player, Scott graduate, and that's what we knew. So being that I went to a grade school that didn't have sports, so I wasn't really open to that. So once I got to St. Francis, obviously I played football, went out for the football team, and once football season was over, I started, focusing more on my education and going to class. And Val Glinka, who was the coach, he saw this skinny, lanky kid walking around. He says, "I missed you yesterday." I said, "Where?" He said, "At the tryouts." I said, "Oh yeah, the basketball tryouts." He says, "Yeah." He says, "Why don't you come back out today? Why don't you come back down to the gym today at 4? I said, "Okay." And went down, and he kept me. Pretty awkward. Walking and chewing gum at that time was a chore. But I made the freshman team, and started on my path from there. And that's where it started.
1983, you guys win the state championship in the state Final Four. You go up against Middletown in the semifinals. Talk about some athletes. Talk about some football players.
Yeah.
Chris Carter and Sonny Gordon are on that Midi team that you guys were able to knock off. And then you get Grady Mateen and Akron in the championship game. 17 points in the championship game. You led the Knights. What was that like to break that Glass City drought and finally bring home a state title to Toledo?
Obviously it was very special, and it's special to be first in anything, but to be the first to win a state championship in a sport, especially basketball, which is so popular in our city. Back then, there were only A, AA, AAA, right. So it was much more difficult at that time to win. And we managed to maneuver our way through to the state finals. We had our ups and downs during that time. We had some guys that were out. Sean Reed, our senior, he had chickenpox, missed the regional games. Then we had Scotty Grant, he had chickenpox in the semifinals. So, we had some challenges during that time, but nobody ever blinked an eye. Everybody came in, stepped up, did their jobs, and everybody thought that the semifinal was the final, and but we had other thoughts about that.